Welcome to the underground.
From the underground.
My favorite podcast.
Check out TJ. Check out Big Ass. Check out Dust.
My favorite podcast.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2.
Voice from the underground.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. VFU podcast.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Voice from the Underground, the podcast. This is Jason Dutch, and this is the podcast where politics and pop culture collide.
We did it.
Welcome back to the show. It is me with Big Hussein from the Bat Cave. What's happening? Big Hussein, aka A-Train, Vought and paid for.
Well, I gotta be fucking A-Train, dude. I'd rather be Black Noir or something. Jesus Christ.
Well, we did find out he's actually black.
What's up,
So that-
everybody?
Yeah.
We did find out he's black, but he's got a tree nut allergy. Anyway, spoiler alert.
All the
Anyway, we're gonna talk about that in another segment later on tonight. So stay tuned for that. If you're a boys fan, make sure you stick around for the second stream after the Humidor. Anyway,
and also, I'll take the show back. Go fuck yourself.
fuck out of here.
The also with me, the voice of Lampier in Beauty and the Beast, Mickey Antifa. What's happening, Mickey Antifa?
Michelle Famiglia.
Oh, he's talking about
Michelle
me.
Michelle
Hello, you-
Famiglia.
Hello, you beautiful Earthlings. It's your boy, rocking his real goat T-shirt because LeBron may have won a ring this year, but the real goat is on my shirt. Thank you very much.
That's right. Another Vought and paid for
What can I say? I like winners.
championship. Yeah, you're like Phil Jackson. So guys, another, it's crazy. Another somewhat uneventful week.
Talk about.
At least compared to the last 2 years, right? Like, it's crazy. But we do have a guest on the show with us today, Mr. Mark Williams, who I met in one of our Facebook podcast guest groups. So Mark, why don't you introduce yourself to us? Tell us if someone was to meet you up on them streets and say, "Yo, Mark, what you do? Who you be?"
What's my
What's
jam
that
and
you
all
claim?
that?
What's
Well,
that you claiming?
that's right.
Yeah.
Well,
What gang are you
writer
in,
for
Mark?
hire, which kind of is always a jack of all trades sort of thing. I'm out here on the continental cusp out here in LA. I grew up at the north end of the state, San Francisco Bay Area in the 60s and 70s. That makes me kind of a time traveler besides clearly the oldest one here. But California boy, and migrated down south, the siren song of Hollywood, and I wound up being a showbiz journalist. I've been a playwright. I've had some books published. I'm also occasionally a novelist, especially for young readers on the march. I have a time travel series, a zombie book that's being optioned here, and now we can talk about the machinations of the option machine.
Yeah, I was going to ask you
but
exactly what that means.
It really means you can say something's being optioned and it sounds cool and probably nothing will ever happen. But an option means somebody has taken dibs. There's a contract. Somebody has taken contractual dibs of first dibs on trying to turn your book or comic or whatever into a thing, to a movie or a TV show.
Okay.
So
it's kind of like you're
somebody's taken
talking to the chick, but you ain't hit
dibs
it
on
yet.
my book.
You're talking to the chick, but you ain't
That's
hit it
it.
yet.
That's right.
Okay.
It's like the bar talk. That's right.
Yeah. You ain't closed the deal yet. Y'all flirting back and forth in the bar.
It's impressive.
At the bar. Yeah.
It's impressive that Mark picked up on the vernacular. So
I like that. Man. Hey, he's a 60s California dude. You know he picked up on what I was putting down. He smelled what I was cooking. Right.
Some of that vernacular is, making its second go round in my
Exactly.
lifetime.
Exactly, Mark. Exactly. Nothing new under the sun.
Just be
That ain't nothing but the old shuffle bug.
right.
Ain't nothing but the old shuffle bug.
Bell bottoms will be back. Don't worry.
Already been back. Where I got this shirt from. Chick was wearing bell bottoms, low waisted. Oh, she looked good too. But anyway, she had on some low waisted. She had on some low waisted bell bottoms. She had some low waisted bell bottoms, and she had a little bell, if you know what I'm saying. And she had a little crop top on.
A Le'Veon Bell?
No, it wasn't no Le'Veon Bell. That was looked like some Pacific Bell.
Haas called and said he wanted to talk about Le'Veon Bell going to the
Chiefs.
I don't want to talk about that because I don't fucking care. But the
so exert your white privilege, and we're not gonna talk about it.
No, but
That's
I'm actually anti Rosa Parksing you. I'm moving you to the front and say, what was your comment on that, real quick? Because all I see is, from a fantasy perspective, it hurts Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But outside of that, I don't think Le'Veon Bell is as good as he was a couple years ago. So why do you think this is a big deal?
I didn't say it was a big deal. I just said the rich get richer. That is what I said. If you want to talk about our pre-recorded talk, I said the rich get richer. It's an embarrassment of riches for the Chiefs because he's obviously ring chasing. He's not going to supplant Edwards-Helaire. They're going to have special packages for him where they put him out at wide receiver or something because he is multifaceted enough to line up at wide receiver and run some pass plays or run some decoy plays.
I don't think he's a better pass catcher. I don't think he's better pass catcher than Helaire is.
I think so. I 100% think so. He did it in Pittsburgh. He actually was doing it for the Jets, but the Jets are the fucking Jets, man. They're the Jets. They're the Jets. They are the new fucking Cleveland. They're the new Chicago Bears. Okay? That's what they are.
I do like LaMichael Perrine, though. I think he's going to have a good year now that he'll have the spotlight there. But
we'll see, because they're still the Jets, man. They're still the Jets. Sam Darnold's shoulder's messed up. It's going to be messed up for the rest of the year. I saw the play where he got hurt, and guess what? That's going to bother him for the rest of the year. Probably. He may not make it through the rest of the year. He's not going to be as effective as he could have been if he was healthy. That shoulder.
Mark, are you a football fan?
I'm kind of a sort of a morose 49ers fan. Grew up in the Bay Area. I pulled for both
on behalf
Niners and Raiders growing up in the Bay Area.
On behalf of Eastern Illinois University, I want to apologize for Jimmy Garoppolo's performance last week. I was embarrassed as an Eastern Illinois Panther watching that man play.
Hey, I was so happy because I was playing a guy in fantasy who had Carson Wentz in his lineup.
And he started Garoppolo.
He pulled him for Garoppolo at the last minute.
Why would you do that?
Let's just say I won. So,
of course,
thank you.
I'll bet.
Yeah, though I've done that myself 1,000 times.
You don't want a guy coming off an ankle injury at quarterback. You don't want to start that guy for that first game back, because he's still got to get all that rust off. And
unless it's Mahomes or Russell Wilson or
remember when Mahomes,
Aaron Rodgers.
Here's the thing. For quarterbacks, you generate your power from the ground up. If you're coming off a bum ankle, you're gonna have trouble that first game or two. If you remember Mahomes' first game back after he dislocated his kneecap, it wasn't that great because he had to get back. He had to get back to really getting used to pushing off and generating power from the ground up and having that stable base.
Yeah.
So quarterbacks coming back from lower leg injuries, lower body injuries.
No bueno.
That first week, you don't really want to, unless they're playing the Jets. Then you play them.
Well, yeah, anybody playing the Jets. A couple of crazy games though. It was funny that and I will just a passing comment here.
Are we going to talk about Dak Prescott's?
Well, no, he's done. He's done for the year, but it's sad for Dallas. But
I knew that was going to happen before it happened.
What was crazy? Yeah, it's unfortunate because I like Dak Prescott. But what was crazy was Miami beat San Francisco by 26, and then
talking about being morose. I mean, Miami.
And then Tennessee beat Buffalo.
The stiff arm heard around the world
by 26. So two shocking.
Eat that.
Eat it. Eat this right now.
Damn, Josh Norman. First, he got to deal with OBJ kicking his ass, and now he's got to deal with the fact that fucking Derrick Henry, who is a behemoth of a man, stiff arm. If he had made the arm chop, he wouldn't have got stiff arm. But he mistimed the chop. and he just got mushed. Oh, it was ugly. I'm sorry.
No worries.
I'm a real passionate guy about football, and that was just UGLY. There is no alibi. That shit was ugly.
You ain't got no alibi. All right. So speaking of no alibi, let's move around with the show. Real quick, let me do a little let everybody know. If you want to support this show, you can do so. You can go to www.patreon.com/VFU podcast. You can support the show there. We have multiple tiers: $2, $5, $10. You can get yourself some VFU gear.
Yep, but don't touch it. The managers be looking.
Don't touch it. They will. And we drop some masks off too. So we're going to give, so far there's nobody on the stream, but there will be. So we will give, I think we're going to give away a mask today. I'm going to give a mask away today. We'll find out which listener gets it. Of course, this will be the first show that we've ever done where we don't have anybody actually watch the live stream. So no one will get it, right? So it's like, but I'm sure someone, yeah, we'll figure out a way to.
No. I'm saying, you know, I'm gonna
tuning in right now. It's like you're
yeah.
Haas, you already get one. You can't win, okay? So
this ain't the Wiz. I can win.
you can also subscribe to the show.
He got it.
I can't get a word in edgewise here. You can also subscribe to the show on YouTube. So if you're watching us on Facebook or Periscope, you can go over to YouTube and you can subscribe to the show. And which is, if you're just looking for it off top, it's going to be at youtube.com/voice from the underground podcast. So you can sign up there. We do appreciate everybody jumping on, and this is like the 5th time we've been on a live stream. Everybody did get us up over the 100 subscribers. Let's go for 200. You know, let's keep this voice, independent media voice, rocking and rolling. So with that being said, we'll move on with the first topic of the show. But what we're going to do today is we're going to do something a little bit different. Instead of posting a 2-hour video, we're going to eventually, probably starting next week or the week after, we're going to start chopping the show up into shorter videos. Okay, so next week we're going to do a live show between the 3 of us, and we're supposed to have Brian from the Herfcast come in and join us. So he's going to bring cigars. And by the way, he said, Bahaz, you're doing a blind review next week. He's not going to tell you what it is.
Oh, shit. Labelless?
Yes.
Okay.
And now Mark is a cigar guy too. We'll get to him in a minute. But then I got a really exciting announcement for October the 29th. We're not only going to have our boy, JC Phillips, the ghost hunter, back. We're also going to have Deb Shepard, the psychic, the same show.
That chick made me cry.
Yes. So it's going to be a great Halloween show. Plus, both these folks are very politically minded. And that will be the show we do right before the Tuesday before the election, or the Thursday before the Tuesday election. We're going to do something during the election. I don't know what. We'll let you know. I am going to be doing a debate, by the way, with Bobby Lopez, who was on the show a couple weeks ago.
Bobby Lee.
Over on the GK Podcast Network. I got 2 shows with them this week. So keep an eye out for those. Pastor Isaac Lindsay, who was on the show, Big House, I'm sure you recall, about 2 months ago, is going to be joining me to debate religion with Jeff Dornick on their network. And I think we're going to live stream it also. But and then I also want to talk, we'll talk about this in the second half of the show, about the protests I stopped into. So we got a lot of cool shows coming up this week. I was just on Jock and Nerd talking to boys right before this. So thanks to Imran and Anthony for coming on. Imran was going to come on this show, but he decided he wanted to go get a bag of weed instead. So
thanks, Imran.
Once again, yes, my friend, it's the Mark Williams time. Yes. So first thing I want to talk about real quick here is Joe Rogan. So Joe Rogan, our heated competition. We only have 2 less listeners than him, right? Per second. Per second. But he is into some hot water. So I'm going to read a little bit of an article from Yahoo News. Controversial shock jock Joe Rogan isn't leaving Spotify, even though employees at the streaming company and some listeners of his podcast are demanding the company censor his content. So their recent acquisition of the viral podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, prompted some employees to take to social media, demanding that they drop the host. But Spotify has said they're extremely unlikely to do this. Now, Rogan's content is exclusive on Spotify, right? So at least starting in a few months, it is. You can still see. Yep, he's getting paid a lot of money. You can still find his older shows on iTunes, but I guess those are going to be purged at some point. So Rogan is known for being a UFC commentator in that old show Fear Factor. But he's been
you're crazy.
He's been particularly critical of the LGBT community and vocally opposed the integration of transgender women athletes into female sports leagues. Though he identifies as liberal and endorsed Bernie Sanders for president, he often runs afoul of minority social groups online. So I'm going to read a quote here and then we'll discuss this. Quote, Spotify is buying Rogan, the biggest move they could possibly make for a single show. And they're moving not just the audio to Spotify, but the videos are being removed from YouTube and put on too. These videos get millions of views each week, and it's the top podcast download. So this is the quote I wanted to read. Spotify employees are expressing discontent about Rogan's views on LGBT long before he came to the company, but recent episodes added to the flames, specifically July 16th show with Abigail Schreier. Well, Schreier spewed what was described by Men's Health magazine as transphobic hate speech. Rogan engaged in a lengthy discussion with Abigail, comparing social transitioning among trans and non-binary people to being in a cult or having autism. So a couple of things. Yeah, a couple of things here, but I'm going to let you guys tackle this. Big Hussein, just your thought on, first of all, Spotify trying, the employees of Spotify not wanting this show on their network. Too far or what? Because remember, they could do the same to us. Not that anyone would care.
It's
under the radar.
I remember. Okay, I'm going to liken it to this. It would be like a record label acquiring 2 Live Crew back in the day, and all of the female employees saying we don't want them on this label. You know what I mean? If you don't like 2 Live Crew, you don't listen to 2 Live Crew. If you don't like Joe Rogan and you don't like what he says, don't listen to him. You know, he's not talking hate speech. He's giving his opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. You can agree or disagree to his opinion. His opinion in this case doesn't necessarily hurt people or inspire people to hurt people. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, now if he was like, I hate trans people, they should be wiped from the face of this earth. You know, if it was me and I ran across a trans person, I would do this or that, blah, blah, blah. Then we're talking hate speech. Then we're talking inciting violence. Then we're talking things like that. You know what I mean? But in this particular case, you could say, I don't like his opinions about trans people. I'm not going to listen to him. I don't like this dude in the workplace. I don't like him on our company, you know? So if I see him in the hall, I'm not going to speak. I'm definitely not going to tune in, and hopefully they won't assign me to work on his content because I don't agree with his content. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where you get into free speech, you get into opinions versus hate speech and speech that's going to incite violence and things like that. Right now, the lane he's in is more of an opinion that you can disagree with and go about your day and be unencumbered. You know what I'm saying? Because he doesn't have political clout to act on his opinion. Now, if he was a senator, then that's a whole different nuance that adds a different type of level of judgment on it, in my view.
All right. So, Mark, you're the guest. We'll get your thoughts and then we'll jump over to Mikey.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Rogan. I'm not a big listener to Joe Rogan. I mostly become aware of, if one of his guests makes headlines and it becomes in the news cycle. But obviously, I've known for a long time who Joe Rogan is. It's just who has time to listen to these 3-hour conversations?
Yeah, that's another thing. His podcast
on at length.
So are ours.
He got us beat by an hour, man. I can say that.
Yes,
Yeah, if you're beating us by an hour, you got a problem.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right.
But what
the
are
question
your thoughts,
is,
Mark,
does it give
like,
legitimacy?
I'm sorry. Well, what are your thoughts, Mark, of like the employees of Spotify not wanting the show there because his views don't fall in line with their views? Is that something that you is that not surprising? And what do you think of that, of their opinion?
Well, it's tricky because, I mean, free speech, and this is one of the tensions in a allegedly free market system like ours. I mean, free speech only really constitutionally means in the public sphere, and better and for worse, it doesn't really exist in the private sphere. I mean, we don't really have free speech in corporate settings, right, as much as we would like to.
Correct.
Think that we do, but legally we don't.
You have limited free speech in public and private settings.
That's right. I mean, you can't harass employees. You can't, call people names, obviously. So there's certain types of speech are prescribed, and people are protected from being abused and things like that. But so the question then is, if I'm an employee at this media company and Joe, like, he has guests on, like, I don't know if the Alex Jones episode is going to migrate over there, but suddenly, like, Spotify is now giving legitimacy to Alex Jones and all these. And so Alex Jones, so Joe Rogan may not be the problem, but Alex Jones, who has this sort of conspiracy kook, and his followers, they're going to go shoot up a shopping mall, then where is Spotify's responsibility?
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
So
well, he's totally grounded compared to. So I actually, if somebody goes on and watches Alex Jones and then listens to Joe Rogan immediately after that, I would hope that would ground them a little bit. But Mikey, I want to get your thought on this, but I also want to throw into it a little bone for you, if you would allow me to do so.
Pause.
Yeah. The other day, after a question during the Senate confirmation or SCOTUS confirmation hearings of Amy Coney Barrett, Webster's Dictionary changed the definition of the term sexual preference and changed it to become offensive because but right on the heels of Coney Barrett using that term. So when you see the Rogan thing and then juxtapose it with this Merriam-Webster's definition of the term sexual preference on the heels of Amy Coney Barrett saying that, which she did apologize for, your thoughts?
I'm going to sidestep that because I don't think it matters. I don't think that. I think Joe Rogan is a fucking problem. And he's the worst kind of problem because he's lovable. He's likable. You see him on UFC. He's, oh my God, it's all over. And he's very charismatic, and he's the lovable, bald-headed, like, man's man kind of dude. And that's why he's dangerous. He's dangerous in that way because he has anyone on his show, which is problematic. And that's what Spotify is going to, and this is the thing that as soon as I knew that this Spotify deal, because I'm a big Joe Budden supporter, as soon as I knew that he got that deal with Spotify, I'm like, what is Spotify? I immediately in my head, well, what is Spotify going to do when he brings on these alt-right fucks? What are they going to do when he starts bringing on these yahoos and he lets them come on the show for 3 hours, he smokes weed with them, and he never pushes back?
That is true too. That is something else I didn't think of. He doesn't challenge them on their views. He just kind of lets them talk. That's not true, though. That's not true.
He pushed back on Candace Owens when she, and I don't listen to Joe Rogan, right? Like, so I've listened to.
If you don't listen to Joe Rogan, then you don't see all the nonsense that he lets happen on his show.
But I have, when I say I don't listen to Joe Rogan, I don't listen to Joe Rogan habitually. He's a habitual, right? But I listen to Joe Rogan here and there when he has a guest that looks interesting to me, right? Mm-hmm. So like when Kevin Smith was on the show, I listened because I love Kevin Smith, right? Who, by the way, is a pretty fucking massive progressive. When he doesn't push back on him all that much either. When he had Candace Owens on the show, I listened because I fucking despise Candace Owens. And when Candace Owens said that climate change is not real, he asked her why she felt that way, and she said because it just doesn't sound right. He pushed back and made her look stupid.
But Dutch,
so she is stupid. That's not hard.
Hold on, Haas. But you also are forgetting that he went on for a year saying that the moon landings were fake. This dude is not an intellectual, and he is not responsible with his platform. He is awful about it. He is not a vanguard. He is not a gatekeeper. He just lets anybody say anything. And sometimes he pushes back if he's in the mood, and other times he just lets people spout whatever. Sometimes he'll just agree with it and just let them keep on doing. Go back and watch any of the episodes with him and Eddie Bravo and listen to the bullshit that they get into. He is horrible about maintaining his platform. He is horrible about it. Awful. So, and I knew as soon as Joe Budden's contract was over, and instead of paying Joe, who had the #1 podcast on Spotify for 2 years solid, their first episode dropped and it crashed the fucking servers for them. Joe Budden, no talks of giving him that 250 or 125, whatever Joe got, for an exclusive deal. For all,
you know why?
Joe's there you go.
Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
So he didn't get that. Joe Budden didn't get that deal. But then Joe Rogan comes and he is plagued with issues. He is plagued with irresponsibility. And he's given the biggest podcasting platform ever and the biggest advance ever. And now Spotify has to clean up the mess. So yeah, I'm not surprised that the fucking Spotify employees are pissed off because this dude is fucking, he will say and do whatever he wants. And yeah, I get that could be like a valuable thing.
If it bleeds, it leads. If it bleeds, it leads.
Exactly. If someone has like counter opinions and they're very well researched on things, that's one thing. But he literally, there's no telling what Joe will say next. He will agree with whoever is sitting in front of him, or he'll disagree with whoever is sitting in front of him based on his mood that day and how much DMT and how many toads he licked that day. Like, I hate Joe Rogan.
So your issue is not with the guest, it's with his with the fact that he doesn't push back on the guests. Is that a fair?
He's not a gatekeeper, like you said.
He is not responsible on his platform. He lets anybody say anything, and he himself has been known to go out and say anything. And the only time that he corrected the fucking flat earth or moon fake shit is when Neil deGrasse Tyson came on his show, and he knew he had to drop that bullshit because Neil wasn't about that life.
Oh yeah, because Neil will call you out. He'll make you look dumb too.
Neil looked at him once and he said, "Yeah, we landed on the moon." And then the homeboy sitting next to him was like, "What? I thought we were just talking the other week." And he's like, "Oh yeah. No, we totally landed on the moon." And then Neil just goes, "Yeah, that's right, bitch. Yeah, you heard me."
So Haas, I'm gonna first of all, let me just make a quick statement here. I don't have that big of a problem. I admit I don't listen to every show. I've listened to Joe Rogan 11, 12 times, far more often than he's listened to me. Right. So I feel I'm bullshit. Yeah. I feel I'm winning here, but and by the way, I'm in Chicago at my parents' house. So if you see if
we see an old man walk by with a walker and some drawers on,
you see this. It's so weird.
That's about old men now. Come on,
it's so weird.
Old men.
Cut it off.
So weird because I want to point this way, but I'm pointing that way. Okay. So this White Sox symbol, that shit ain't me. That's my dad.
Hey, guess what?
Right?
Guess what? Your dad sounds like a great guy. Take back what I said about the underwear.
Very intelligent.
But the Sox fan on one hand, Trump supporter on the other. But the
shit, that waters it down.
But
I was about to say, you almost sound smart enough to be a Cardinals fan.
But just to clarify, so I am in Chicago. We're all in Chicago except for Mark. But I'm usually in California, closer to Mark. But
California, sunshine, California.
I'm in Bakersfield.
Okay.
Yeah. So
99, yeah.
We'll talk about that in a second here. But right down to 99. But as far as Joe Rogan goes, like I said, I'm not an expert on Joe Rogan. Like Tony would be from Jock and Nerd would be the perfect guy to have on for that because he's a big Joe Rogan fan. But I do have I do believe that we need to talk to people. We do that here. You know, we have, Jeff Dornick's views do not in line with ours. Bishop Talbert's lines, did not align with ours. Hollywood's views did not align with ours. So
Hollywood's a cool dude, though.
He's a cool dude, but he also, he also thinks coronavirus is a farce.
Well,
so,
you know what? He should volunteer for the vaccine trials.
But why do that when there is no trial? But it's like faking the moon landing.
Pills, man. It's just water pills. It's water pills.
It's just water, right? They're all on sugar pill. But as far as the
but even we pushed back on Jeff when Jeff got out of line, or Jeff said something that we felt like was out of hand. We would guide him back to where he needed to be.
Yeah, when Jeff got out of pocket, we put him back in his lane.
Put him back.
Right, but that's what we do.
Joe doesn't do that.
I don't think everybody has to do the same thing we do.
Well, you don't.
But this is why we're responsible.
Exactly, but you don't have to. But that makes you irresponsible with your platform, and he's very irresponsible with his platform.
Well, let me ask you this question. So I'm just taking the right wing stance here.
Okay.
Let's say that he was on. Let's say that he was on with Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
And Bernie Sanders told him that that gave him the numbers for his health care. And I'm listening to it as a right winger, and I think, why didn't you push back on him? Because those numbers are all fake. Isn't a lot of that perception?
But are they fake?
I'm saying, isn't it a lot of it perception? Perception as to what you perceive as you needing to be pushed back on. Because Mikey will say that he should push back on certain things that Hollywood might not.
Yeah. Landing on the moon and statistical numbers for healthcare are two different things, though.
That one's a drastic one. But I mean, he's not a flat earther. There's a big difference between
until he wasn't.
But there's a big difference between not believing that we land on the moon and a flat earther or a climate denier, to me. Because one is just believing that there might have been a government hoax, which is not like the most unbelievable thing you can think of. But yeah, there's just too much evidence to show that we did land on the moon. But, the fact that the government would do something crazy, like maybe hide UFOs or something like that. Do I think it happened?
Do that shit.
Yeah. Do I think it happened? I don't know. But but if I found out they were hiding a UFO, I wouldn't be like super shocked. I'd be more shocked that there's a UFO than the fact that they hit it. In fact,
I wouldn't be shocked about that either.
I'd be way more surprised if holy shit, there's actually real UFOs than I would be the fact that if they found it, they would hide it, because I know they would.
100%.
So
we're so arrogant in this world that we believe that this whole universe and other universes, we're the only intelligent life, which is the most arrogant thing I think anybody could think as a human being.
So what are your thoughts on the element that I brought up? I'll ask Mark and Big Haas this. As far as like the changing of the definition of sexual preference, because a lot of what Joe Rogan has been fired back on about is his views on LGBT. However, I do know, I think all three of us share some of that view, in that we don't believe that a woman, if I transgendered into a woman, that I should be able to compete in boxing or cycling or some physical sport, because I will dominate. Right. And and we had Fiona on, and she agreed.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. Yeah, hi, Fee. But I'm not sure that's hate speech. So
are we talking about sexual preference or sexual identity, though?
No, I don't think Joe Rogan.
That's different than transitioning into another gender. I mean, if I'm a guy that wants to sleep with guys, that's different than me transitioning to be a woman.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's sexual preference versus sexual identity.
I don't think. Well, they're different issues, but they're on the same slope here in this way.
I'm not necessarily agreeing with you on that. Well, I think that
no. You're thinking I'm saying something that I'm not. What I'm not saying that sexual preference.
Tell me what I'm thinking.
I'm not saying that sexual preference and transitioning are in any way the same. What I'm saying is that the changing of the term and in revisionist history, going back to say that someone who says the word sexual preference in a conversation. So for example, if I were to ask Mikey, what's your sexual preference? And then for someone to come back and say, hey, that's offensive, when I didn't know it was offensive, that's where I'm going with it. in the same way that that Joe Rogan will say, well, I don't believe women should be able to, transgendered women should be able to compete in, say, the WNBA, that someone finds that offensive too. So it's like it's perception of what someone feels is offensive compared to
you're conflating the two.
I'm definitely conflating them because I feel that there's a that they jog around the same track. So yeah, they're different issues. I don't think so, but they're different issues about perception.
Here's my thing. Here's the thing. Like, if you ask me what my sexual preference is, I don't have any. How to have a preference would mean, oh, I tried the lasagna, and then I tried the chicken, and I prefer the chicken. You know what I'm saying? That I don't have that. So for a lot of people in the LGBT community, it's offensive because to say, hey, this is your sexual preference, as if it's a conscious choice you made. For a lot of people in the LGBT community, it's not a conscious choice they made. Right. It's something they've always had. Right. So if you've never had Fruit Loops, how can you say I prefer cornflakes over Fruit Loops if you never had Fruit Loops?
Mark, you were trying to jump in.
I'm sorry.
That's right. Well, I mean, the reason I think it's changed, and I growing up in the Bay Area in the 70s when sort of alternate other sexualities could start to be freely expressed. You know, I was sort of on the cusp.
Because it's always been. It's just now it's more expressed. It's open, and I think
that's right. But to Jason's point, I would say growing up as a young man, and you're getting used to sort of these other sexualities around you, especially again a place like the Bay Area where there's a lot of expression of it. Sexual preference in the 70s was probably kind of the polite, considerate way to have that discussion about my sexual preference, or but that was actually probably the default. But the Baird hearing, and the reason it changed is because legally, when she uses it, that means that I don't have to innately grant you rights because it's not an innate thing. It's a preference. It's like you're just choosing to have the lasagna, so you're not. But I don't have to give you like rights as an Italian American if we're going to stretch that metaphor, right?
Right. I agree. Exactly. So I agree with you 100%. But I think my point is being lost in the muck here.
Maybe that's not a point.
No, there is. The point. the point is this. Okay, I'm going to make an analogy for you. So
okay, I'm listening.
And to her credit, surprisingly, Amy Coney Barrett actually kind of followed this mode. But like Mark a minute ago, Mark a minute ago said, alternative. He was about to say the word alternative lifestyle, right?
Yeah, which is offensive,
right? But see.
But even in the 70s, it's just someone else's lifestyle. It's not alternative, right? But that was a 70s phrase. Right. That was my young adulthood.
So what I'm talking about here is that like, but Mark also corrected himself and said, wait a minute, that's my implicit memory coming back and pulling up a term like obviously there's been people who use the word colored when that's an outdated term too. Maybe that's a little bit different because that one's a little bit more on the forefront.
That's old as shit though too. I mean,
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's on the forefront more than, but I think that if I were to say sexual preference to someone, like, hey, what's your sexual preference? And then they were to say, hey, by the way, when you say it that way, this is what you are actually saying, and this can be offensive. And I continue consciously now to choose to say it that way because I don't give a fuck about what you felt, then that becomes a problem. Yeah. But if I said, oh, like we did with when what's her face? Was it Tucky? When Tucky Williams was on and she said, I don't like the Q in LGBTQ. She's actually in that community. I'm not. Right. So I can say, okay, well, you know what? I'll think twice about using the Q plus because there are people who don't like it. Right.
But here's the thing, Jason, is that's Tucky and Dutch. You know what I'm saying? That's not the SCOTUS who feels like.
Oh no, I'm not dismissing that. I'm just saying that it's weird that like people attack people for things that maybe they misspoke on, and then if they correct it, then fine. It's if you continue to do it where I think it's a problem.
Well, that is in the That is in the general populace. When we're talking about, and here's the thing too, unless you've been living under a rock and you're not a well-rounded person that's consuming information from different types, you know, like, hey, guess what? If you're 30 years old and you're still calling black people colored, what the fuck have you been doing for the last 20 years of your life? You know what I'm saying? So if you're not educating yourself, if you're not a person who is interacting and gaining knowledge and learning different aspects of different people's lives, then that's where you end up. And then hopefully you come across someone who can say, hey man, that's kind of offensive to call people colored or to ask about sexual preference and things like that. But as a SCOTUS judge, you should be educated on everything that could come across your desk. And you should be educated enough to know, you know, that, hey, guess what? That could be an offensive terminology. But when it's ingrained in your belief system, that this is a preference and that this is a wrong choice and you love the sinner, not the sin.
Right.
Then you get into an aspect of, oh crap, we're about to put somebody on the SCOTUS board that has an ingrained belief because she corrected herself, but did she correct herself because she wanted to, or did she correct herself because she had to?
Right. And we don't know the answer to that yet, but we can assume.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Shortly. We'll find out.
We can make assums, but you know, if I had to bet money, I'd say that she believes it's a choice.
And this is another thing that has really in the last 5 years kind of really shown the degradation of our country. We're back to that. Unless they explicitly say it, then it's not this or that. But you can look at someone's history.
War on drugs.
Yeah, you know, you know, unless they specifically say the N-word, it's not racist. Unless they specifically say, I don't agree with abortion at any part, then you can't say that they disagree with it. When you can tell, when like in Amy Coney Barrett's case, when she is going to very extreme anti-abortion groups and speaking and giving sound bites and taking pictures with people, and now that she's nominated, these groups are scrambling to remove all of her stuff off their social media platforms and websites.
Stand back and stand by.
Then you know where she lies, but because she didn't specifically say it in front of the microphone, now we got to act like we don't see, you know? Come on. You know, if somebody drives by me every day and gives me the finger when I'm standing out front under my Black Lives Matter flag, I got a pretty good idea that if he could, it's not. I can't say he's not racist because he didn't call me the N-word. You know what I'm saying? So this where we now put in the realm of opinion. Oh, that's just my opinion. No, that's your belief. That's your beliefs. There's a difference between it. I don't like chocolate cake. That's an opinion. You know, I think that
it's your cake preference.
I think that abortion should be banned at just about any instance. That is a belief that when added to power becomes you forcing your belief on someone else, which I believe is unconstitutional.
Oh, I agree with that. I think that abortion is the one issue where it's a belief either way. You either believe it's a life or you don't, right? So but the difference is do you believe it's a choice or not? Now, so I don't like arguing abortion because it's too murky. There's too many loopholes to jump through, and
I don't have fallopian tubes, so how am I going to tell somebody what to do?
Yeah,
it's not up to us. That's right. It's not our body. I mean, it's not.
I agree.
And even better
How
said,
difficult.
even other women don't have that woman's fallopian tube. So
Exactly.
They don't get a say either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? In my personal life, me and my wife, if we got pregnant, we might do one thing, but I'm not going to tell you because we would do that one thing that you have to do that one thing.
No, and I agree with
Either
that.
way,
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
I do though. Like there's not 1 ounce of joy that goes through my body when I think of my own kids that could have been my kids that were aborted. Right. Like,
of course. Nobody's like, oh, yay. You know?
Yeah. And I don't think that
Right.
like, I don't ever besearch any pro-life person for believing that they are defending the life of the child. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And I'll never tell anyone that they're wrong for believing that.
They are.
I just believe that I don't agree with you, but I believe
legislate it.
But
Yeah,
right.
Can't legislate it.
But
That's
how
the
you
thing.
do it is you have a conversation one-on-one with the person. If they're
How
open
you
to
do
that
it is you let that
conversation.
person have the choice of what they're going to do with their body and their family and their relationship. That's what you
Right.
do.
Wow.
You say that's you. That's what you do. You do what you do. I do what I do.
If
You know what I
only-
mean?
If only we spent maybe a quarter of the money we spent killing people, you know, with guns overseas. If we spent a quarter of
Right.
that on birth control for teenage girls to make it free and
Or
accessible for all of them.
just teaching contraception in school.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, if we just,
They're coming after birth control.
Yeah.
Griswold, which is a decision that allowed, I guess, women to buy birth control. I forget the specific parameters, but Griswold allowed the extended availability and allowed women to buy it without permission or the husband's permission or whatever. She would not commit to saying that Griswold was correctly decided. Griswold, this is not even an abortion question. This is a birth control. This is
Yeah.
the legality of birth control.
So
Because some
she
people
would not say it was
that's
correctly decided.
pre-abortion. That's pre-abortion to some people.
and that's the major issue.
That's
So if
right.
they have such a big
That's
problem with
right.
abortion, then maybe they should really rethink the way that they have comprehensive sex education and the ease of access for contraceptives for young women. If you take care of those two things, we don't have this conversation.
But then you're giving people the permission to have sex.
Right, which is what it boils down to that too, and that conversation shouldn't
That's
be
it.
included in the abortion
No.
conversation.
And I want to ask these
They always say,
people-
"Oh, don't be a whore."
Yeah, but I
Well-
want to ask these people, how many of y'all were virgins on your marriage day?
And if
You
were,
know,
were
I
trash at
bet you a lot of people will shut the fuck up when you say, "Oh, you teaching
Not Kavanaugh.
abstinence,
Kavanaugh
teaching
won't.
abstinence."
Kavanaugh will get all angry.
right.
I was drinking beers with
Sam.
Squee. I was
Yeah.
drinking beers with
Oh,
Squee. I didn't have sex.
That's right.
He was just
No.
he was just boofing, y'all.
But,
Yeah.
but-
We
so,
didn't have
so-
consensual sex anyway. That's right.
Yeah,
right.
So
I never had
technically you are a
consensual
virgin.
sex with.
fucking
I never had consensual sex with that woman. So before we go down the abortion
Yeah, that's right.
rabbit hole,
That's
so
all.
I'm gonna
that's all okay.
share my screen here,
Uh-oh.
and
He's sharing.
yeah, and I'm gonna share my screen for our next quick little story. I just want to. This is my first time using this computer, so I have to.
He's
You're
using
gonna
a
get.
Mac.
You're gonna get the.
Daisy.
Here we go. All right, boom. Here we go. It's being shared.
He said,
right.
"Boom."
So there was a guy, and I just kind of want to talk about this story very briefly. I wish I knew how to make. I'm on my mom's Mac, and I don't know how to make the screen bigger. But
Command and scroll up.
I don't even know where the command button's at, so we'll skip by that for now. There was a story on the New York Post. This went around where you can see there's a black guy who's on an airplane who had a mask on that says Trump. It's obviously down there. It said Black Voices for Trump. He was eating. He got asked to leave the plane. You can see that guy right there, also no mask, which is sort of odd. But they're saying that Trump tweeted this out. I said, here you go, John Trump Jr. tweeted this out. Okay, so I just a rep for Southwest Airlines reportedly insists it came after multiple employees asked him to wear a mask. So they did put the guy on another flight. I think they gave him his money back or whatever. But nonetheless, I do want to know from you guys, what are your thoughts on this? Is it because of the mask, or was it because of something else that maybe his skin color, or is it just that he was just being a dick? I don't know. Your thoughts, Big Hussein?
This is one of those times where, okay, he says he was eating. Was he like, oh, I'm gonna take a bite and then leave my mask down for
Right.
10 minutes
And
then
hold my bag of peanuts.
yeah, and then when they
Love
come
filming
by, I'm gonna
Right.
ruffle around in the bag and eat. And they were
That's right.
watching this guy. He's not eating for
That's
15, 20 minutes with his mask down. And then when they come by and say, "Hey, you got to have your mask on." "Oh, I'm eating. I did that shit at a concert. You know, they wouldn't bother you if you were smoking a cigar and you had your mask down. So I had the cigar in my hand with my mask down. And every time I saw one of the little guards walking around, I started taking puffs off the cigar. So was he being a dick like I was? But I was outside at a drive-in concert. Was he being a dick like that? Or was he literally continuously eating and they told him he had to put his mask on, and he said, "But I'm eating," and they threw him off the plane? That's bullshit. But if he was being a dick and he was just holding a bag of peanuts and had his mask down and he's talking to his homies and all that other shit, and then when every time somebody comes around, he's like, "Oh, I'm eating though. You know what I mean? There's a fine line there. So
Mikey
kicked off the plane because the flight attendant saw that this mug is just over here with his mask down, parlaying, and then every time we come by, he takes a peanut out the bag.
Right.
So we're not in normal times. We're in pandemic times.
Mm-hmm.
They say put your mask on. Put your fucking mask on. You don't have no food to eat. Ain't nobody risking COVID because you want to eat some damn 30-cent peanuts.
Yeah, because you don't get yeah.
Just like if somebody wants to, I really just want to stretch my legs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the plane's about to take off, sir. You need to sit down.
The seatbelt sign is on.
No,
The seatbelt sign is on.
Walk around. Like, I'm sorry, but when you buy that plane ticket, you are a ward of that airline.
And you agree to the rules too.
Yes, they have to take you 10,000 feet up in the air, move you at 700 miles an hour, and bring you down safely without you dying. That means they get to be in charge of the situation. If they're saying, put your mask back on, sir, it doesn't kill you to put your mask back on. And if and you want to talk about staged bullshit, of course it's the black guy for Trump right before the election.
Yeah,
I'm not boo-boo the fool.
Right.
How convenient. Right. How convenient that the black Trump supporter got in trouble for not wearing his mask on a flight. This is just this is bullshit. I want
to see his bank records. I want to see the deposits made in the weeks leading up.
Yeah, you got a $5,000 deposit from an anonymous donor.
Mark, what are your thoughts?
Where does it appear? It appears in Rupert Murdoch's New York Post, which ran the bogus Biden story, fed to them, fed to Giuliani by the GRU, the Russian GRU. It's a propaganda outlet run by Murdoch. This guy it wasn't like the guy was being harassed and somebody else just filmed it. He was there with a group of right wingers, and she had her phone ready. This so-called constitutional lawyer, if you read her quotes, she was like ready to go with her phone. He was with a group of Trump going to whatever gathering. So I would suggest
it was all staged.
It was staged, and that he was their token, if I may be so bold. It wasn't that the airline picked him out. The Trump people picked him out.
He was the Steven.
In order to stage this.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So when I saw this, so I didn't actually know that tidbit about the who filmed it, but I was thinking to myself, if he didn't have that mask on, how different the reaction would be.
I don't know that though.
Like if the mask,
period. It could have just been he had his mask down.
Well, but I'm saying if it wasn't a Trump mask, if it was a Harley Davidson mask or a regular blue mask, right? And
it doesn't matter. It's not that a Trump mask is going to stop the virus and a Harley Davidson mask won't.
Well, if you had the guy sitting next to the person taking the video, clearly a white guy without a mask, and they're bothering the black guy, we'd be talking about this right now if it weren't a Trump mask.
I don't
know if I agree with that.
I don't fall for the okie doke though. There's a lot of, doesn't this get you upset, black people? Stories that pop up all the time, and a lot
around election time.
Remember Juicy
Smoulier.
Juicy Smoulier.
Oh yeah,
and they wanted all.
Oh right.
They wanted wanted all the black people to get all up and mad.
Do we have
crazy.
to talk about him again?
And guess what? Most of the black people did. They sat there and was like,
shit, especially black folks from Chicago.
What the hell you doing at Subway at 3 a.m. and these motherfuckers got ropes?
That's right.
Who carries bleach? Who's carry bleach around?
Who's running around with bleach and ropes? It's 15 degrees below zero, and you walk around with bleach.
Emmett Tucker, Confederate trucker here. Just want to let you guys know real quick. Back in the back of the '87 Dodge, do have a gallon of Purex bleach. Can't afford the Clorox. Use the Purex.
Purex, it's yellow,
and we do keep some twine back there. It's the yellow twine.
Yeah.
I use it for wrangling chickens and such.
And that was another thing when I saw
and also
the rope,
for stringing up ninjas. I mean,
not with twine.
No. Well, sometimes it breaks if they're a little heavy.
Right. That's why I keep my weight up. That's why I keep my weight up and I keep my strap on me.
Keep that thing on.
That's another. And white supremacists don't run around with twine to string nobody up. They got the real shit. They got that shit, that braided shit. They ready
next to the Rorschach mask.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Like stories like this pop up from time to time, and and it's a okie doke test to see if you're foolish enough to fall for it. As far as I'm concerned,
right?
I'm not falling for this for a minute. Where were they even flying? Like that's what I want. Where were you going?
They were going to a Trump rally. They were going to a super spreader event.
They were going to the South.
They were going to a super spreader event. He was going to be that dude behind Trump like this.
Right.
He wanted to. Well, I don't have the soundboard in Chicago.
American over there.
Yeah, he'd be that guy. Yeah. All right. So let's. So I'll insert the music afterwards. So cue the music.
And I'll push. I got the music.
Oh, good.
Oh,
I downloaded it.
Then cue the music.
I didn't.
Are you playing it?
Not yet. You kind of caught me by surprise.
All right, don't worry about it. I'll throw it in after.
I'm doing it.
Hold
on. Just be patient. There we go.
Okay. Pause.
Welcome to the Humidor with Big Haas.
I'm almost in.
Find out what Haas is puffing and drinking today. If you try his
suggestion, when I can't hear it.
And you die.
I'm letting Mikey do all the dancing. Do the Janet Jackson.
And the VFU podcast is not responsible for you being weak.
And of course, this is the first show we've done with no comments. We usually have like 30 comments by now.
The one.
But this show, Mark, what did you do to our listeners?
I based on
I'm not drunk.
No more.
Big Hussein, what the fuck are you drinking?
But
Big Hussein. Big Hussein, what are you drinking? What are you smoking?
We haven't done the URL.
On Voice from the Underground today.
Okay. Haas Humidor.
Haas's Humidor. I am smoking on a legendary blender's smoke. The name, if you're a cigar smoker, is Eric Espinosa. All right. So you know Espinosa Cigars or Espinosa blended cigars. And Espinosa, the brand, if you're a cigar smoker, especially if you like medium to full cigars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, check out.
He
Mark.
has.
That's it. But medium to full, man. The fuller the better.
Yeah, the fuller the better, man. And Eric Espinosa has done blends for brands like Habano, 601, La Bamba, Murcielago, and some others. So he opened his own factory in Esteli. Go ahead, Dutch. Esteli.
Oh.
Nicaragua. Okay, I got it.
I was typing Nicaragua.
And it's called La Zona. All right. And
which is Spanish for the zone.
It's a boutique brand. It's a handmade. It's called the Espinosa Habano. Okay. And the Habano is a solid medium. Okay, but it's got some full tendencies to it. And I'll get to that in a minute. All right. So the cigar, of course, because it is the factory is in Nicaragua. It is
Nicaragua.
That's right. The filler is a Nicaraguan long filler and a Nicaraguan Habano wrapper. Okay. But the blend is proprietary. So you don't know what leaves he actually used in his blend. So that adds to the mystique.
Perhaps he used clippings from his lawn.
If he did, he's got a really fucking good lawn. Okay. because this goddamn cigar is good. Okay,
I used to tell my wife she had a good lawn.
Yikes.
Whoa.
Ah!
Paul.
I'm from the 70s. I miss lawns.
Oh shit.
Here at Voice from the Underground, we accept people of all types.
That reminds me of that line from
Mark is off the chain.
Oh my god, I love it.
You guys seen Get Him to the Greek?
Yes.
That line where they're rubbing the furry wall and he goes, "This is what old pussy used to look like in the 70s."
Used to.
Please,
I swear,
ladies.
I was there. It did. Used to, man. Yeah.
Please, ladies.
Those were the
Don't roast us. And I'm a 70s baby, so I got in on the end of that before they,
We're gonna get in
so,
trouble.
Whatever. Anyway.
He was in trouble.
So when you first start smoking the cigar,
We're going the way of Joe Rogan.
No, we're not.
Exactly.
No, we're not. I'm getting us back. I'm getting us back right now. So you get a prominent pepper blast when you first start the cigar. Okay. The pepper is really there. Bang. Like right in your face. Pause. Okay. You get a little cedar, and it's kind of a leathery essence to it as well. All right.
Leathery and cedar. I'm gonna give that a pause.
Yes. And then you got, the pepper. Okay. Now, as the cigar progresses, the pepper kind of goes away a little bit, and you're left with a little bit of cocoa. It's like a dark cocoa, and it's a little sweet. And because I tasted a little bit of sweetness, I actually paired it with 2 drinks.
Ooh.
All right. So first, I have. Oh, also, I'm sorry. I am smoking the Toro, which is 6 by, I think, I want to say 50.
Okay.
Yeah, 6 by 52. The Toro. That's what I'm smoking right now. And what I wanted to say is, I am drinking quarter cut Cabernet Sauvignon, which is aged in bourbon barrels. Okay. At first, I wasn't sure. Excuse me, like a Good Morning Vietnam. At first, I wasn't sure if I liked it, but the taste has grown on me. I think it's developed as it got more air to it. Because I took a sip when I first poured it, and I probably shouldn't have done that. But I am a very, very, very green novice when it comes to drinking wine. So I poured, and about 10 seconds later, I took a sip, and I was like, ugh. If you remember in the pre-recording, Mikey, I was saying, I don't know if I like this.
Yeah.
But as it's gotten some oxygen to it, it's gotten a little fruitier.
Yeah.
Pause. And no cap to the LGBT community. I was just describing the flavor of the wine. But it brings out a little bit of the sweetness, the semi-sweetness as well. But it also brings back a little of the pepper. I don't know why, but for me it does.
Bring back the pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
But if you know me, you know I'm from the low end of Chicago. And when I tasted that little bit of sweetness in the cigar when I was smoking it naked, I was like, I got something in the fridge over here that could probably bring out that sweetness a whole lot more. So I also
an Almond Joy
paired it with. I'm from the low end. I'm from 44th and Stewart, so I got the purple Fanta.
Oh, I thought you were gonna pull out the red pop.
Oh, the red. I got the grape drink.
What color?
What the fuck is juice, man?
What
I want
flavor?
some drink.
What flavor is that red pop? Is that cherry?
It's whatever you want it to be, as long as it's red. It's whatever flavor you feel.
Is it strawberry? No, it's just red.
It tastes like red.
So when I take a drink of the Fanta grape, and Fanta send me my money,
you should have had a Fresca.
I take a puff.
Why didn't you have a Fresca?
I'm thoroughly convinced. When we talk about the boys, remind me to talk about the Fresca, because I got a theory about the Fresca.
Okay.
Saw some stuff online about it too.
When I take a drink of the Fanta, of course, Fanta is basically sugar and purple. and carbonation.
There's
So
a lot of purple.
Yeah,
exactly.
purple flavored.
So the sweetness really comes out of the cigar, and the semi-sweetness becomes a little bit bolder. And I also get a little bit of almost like a cookie when I take a drink and I take a puff. I get almost like almost like a cookie. I'm not even lying to you. So this is a really good cigar, and it got a 93 rating from Cigar Aficionado when it came out. So that's a pretty hefty rating from Cigar Aficionado.
Quick question here, just for
Sure.
Mark. Is this a cigar that you have any experience with at all?
It is not, although I probably preferring sort of medium and fatty cigars, which used to be, as I was coming up, Honduran. We'd always, Honduran cigars were always outside of Cuban cigars, and I have actually a couple of Havanas here we can talk about. But when you couldn't get Havana, which was most of the time, you'd go sometimes Dominican and sometimes Honduran. But I would say in the last 10 years, so I mean, Nicaraguans are coming up. I would say I probably default more often to a Nicaraguan cigar.
Yeah.
For that, my day-to-day full-bodied smoking experience.
Now, how often do you smoke? Do you smoke one a day?
It used to be a couple times a week, and now I'm down to maybe, especially because in LA when it gets so hot, I smoke less. I smoke more when it's cooler during winter on walks and things like that. Holidays, because more festive occasions. So I probably between November and March, I smoke more cigars than I do like in the warm part of the year.
Oh wow!
So
okay, so you're a part-time
cigar season.
You're a part-time lover.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be more when I was younger. It was more. It was like a couple times a week, pretty constantly. Now it's 2 or 3 times a month.
I spoke at least 2 a day. I smoke one in
the
morning
with man.
I smoke one with my coffee, and I smoke at least one more during the day at some point. Usually.
An easy lover.
No.
Yeah.
No. I'm talking about he's a part-time lover like Stevie Wonder.
Oh, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Yeah.
But
so what is your
on the leaf
rating?
on the leafer meter? I'd give this a 4.6.
Oh, that's a good score.
Yeah, I would like it to be a little bit fuller. I would have liked it more if the pepper was more consistent throughout the cigar, but it kind of like by now, if you can see, like I said, this started off as a 6-incher, pause. And now I'm down to about 1.5 inches, pause again.
She didn't have COVID, but she has something bad.
Right. And then pre-pause about 2.5 inches in is when the pepper kind of went all the way away.
That's the head and tiny bit of the shaft. So
depending on your blessings.
Yes, depending on your blessing. So Mark, you have a cigar there with you that you I guess we're talking about recommending. Maybe
you said you had a couple. You had a couple. What you got?
I got here's recent gifts, and this was I'm pretty sure this was from my youngest son on birthday.
Oh, Romeo and Juliet. Oh, that's a good cigar.
Yeah, which it has to be Honduran and Nicaraguan.
Is that the Maduro? It's the Romeo and Juliet Reserve. Is it a Maduro? I wonder.
Okay, I'll see.
It came with a cedar strip, right? That looks like a Maduro.
Okay.
And then you got what else? Yeah.
And then I have over here 2 Havana cigars, which the legendary, this was the one that we always sought when I was in my teens smoking cigars, Monte Cristo.
Monte Cristo, Cuban. Baby. What year is that? 19 what?
56.
That's a good
1956.
No, it's modeled after. No. They're calling it a 35 because of the blend, but it's not. This is given to me. It was a gift given to me this year. So it
Monte
has to
Cristo, 1935. It's a 1935 blend. It's the blend.
It's 1935 blend.
Yes.
So tell me. So I don't know about that blend. So you tell me.
I've had that cigar. It's really good. I had it when I was relatively young in the game, and I didn't know.
Yeah.
You just got that cigar? You have do you have a humidor?
It's been in my humidor. It's been in my humidor since spring.
Really? Okay, that might be a good one to smoke right now. That might be because that one has aged really well. If your humidor is properly maintained, that's a good one to smoke. That's almost a special occasion cigar.
Okay.
But that's a good cigar. What was the third one?
Exactly. That's part of it. So
Yeah, what's the third one?
and also from Havana, the punch. And I always loved punch. I loved the Honduran punches. They're always one of my favorites growing up when I get them at my local cigar store.
You know what? I don't like that cigar that much.
But this is Havana.
Yeah, I don't like that one that much. I like. Have you had the Punch Diablo yet?
No, I haven't had a punch in a while. Actually, I mostly get these mail order Nicaraguan cigars.
Yeah, and if you like really strong cigars, if you like really full body cigars, you got to go. And this is the only Camacho cigar that I like. It's the Camacho Triple Ligero, Ligero. It comes in. It's got a black band. It's got a triple Maduro wrapper. Oh, it's amazing.
Triple. Wow.
It's called the Triple Maduro.
Hey, turn them on to your black star line.
And also, if you like cigars and you like them full, you like the Black Star line War Witch. That's a really good cigar. It's got a little pepper to it. It's pretty. You know what? I'm gonna put the link in the private chat here, and you can go and you can scoop one up. But the Black Star line War Witch is one of my favorite cigars. I have to I buy a bunch of them, and then I have to keep myself from smoking them all up because every time I open the humidor and I see the War Witch, I want to smoke it. But I gotta ration it out. I gotta ration them out because
it's like when you go into remember you get them variety packs of the breakfast cereals.
And
you're like, I gotta save some fruit.
I gotta save the fruit. I gotta save the Frosted Flakes. I can't eat up all of these Frosted Flakes at once.
Let me go ahead and get these honeycombs.
Let me get this Captain Crunch up out of here and get this over with.
Exactly.
So I bought at 2 weeks ago. I bought, I want to say 10 War Witches. I bought I bought 4 of the Lancero. I bought 3 of the Robusta and 3 of the Corona. And I've got 3 Lanceros left, and I've got 2 Robustos and 1 Corona. And I'm like, don't smoke those. Don't smoke those because
smoke that Trump 2020.
I still got one left. I haven't smoked it, and nobody's come over that I disliked enough to give it to.
I say that you smoke the Trump 2020 the day after the election when he loses. Yeah, it's burn it in effigy almost.
I might just set it on fire. On the deck.
I'll come over for the celebratory party and we'll just throw it right in the fire pit.
I don't know if he wants to waste a cigar.
I want to do that shit like Nas said in Ether. I want to see it burn slow.
That is a totally underrated album, by the way. That Nas out where he's all dissing Jay-Z, the whole album. All right, so we're gonna let Mark go here, but before we let you go, Mark, tell us about what you do. What have you written? What can people look for? I know you're kind of into comic culture, so tell us about your shit.
Yeah, I don't have any. I have written comics a couple times. I've been out here. I don't know if you guys ever gotten to the San Diego Comic-Con. My boys grew up. I used to go to that every year when I was, especially my active writer days, because you could get. The deal was if you were being published or you were creating content, you could get in for free. And it used to be the sweetest deal. It's like if you were an author, because I've written science fiction and horror books, and if you could sort of, as long as you had some cred, you could fairly easily get tickets, and you get a bunch of family passes. So my sons, it's much harder to do this now. My sons kind of grew up going to San Diego Comic-Con, and I love all that. I grew up reading them, and they still, even though I'm mostly a prose writer, I would say things like Watchmen and certain graphic novels have probably affected the way I structure, even my prose work. So there you go. So I'm probably Google. I mean, I do a lot day to day. The thing I write most often is journalism. Here in LA, I'm a showbiz journalist. I write a lot of, mostly what we call below the line, which is kind of behind the scenes. I have a cinematography column in a British cinematography magazine. I'm kind of like their one-man Hollywood bureau. I've written about visual effects. I cover the award shows. I've been to a bunch of Oscars back when I used to have Oscars and, a few Emmys and things like that.
What is your juiciest behind the scenes story that you've ever written?
People think the thing is, it's kind of prosaic. I've talked to some interesting people over the phone. I've been in the press room in a decade's worth of Oscars, and it wasn't any spectacular, like, hey, her dress actually fell off and nobody knew. Nothing like that. But the thing is that what happens backstage is a far more interesting Oscar than you get to see on the broadcast, because nobody's cut off by their band. So like Viola Davis, for example, when she won, so she gives this enormously insightful, thoughtful speech that nobody in the front of the house got to see. Her intelligence is blazing through her. So all this stuff's more like a seminar. And so people who are really on top of their craft, you're in the room with them, and then and it's like a big auction, right? Everybody has it literally, because you have a number. You don't even, like, number 355, where they ask for questions, number 18, and so that they call on you, you ask a question. So you're in the room with all these creative types, and it's far more interesting, I have to say, than what is broadcast, because they're not cut off. They can talk about their craft, and there's usually give and take. So that's the thing. As vapid as the Oscars seem, the people who are actually much more interesting, but you never get to see that on network TV.
So Viola Davis was really insightful. Who else? Who? If another one that comes up to mind that was really insightful and knowledgeable and.
God, guys, in a way, there've been so many. The Mad Max Fury Road. I remember when they were winning all these that year, when they won all these Oscars, and I happened to ask a lot of them. The crew, because they'd worked with George Miller for so long, they were all just excited, and they were amazed that they had won. Because they just thought they were going to go out and do a Mad Max movie, and so and that was one where I got to ask, because earlier in the evening, when it's like editors, sound mixers. There are fewer questions asked, and by the end of the evening, when it's the actors coming backstage, then everybody, and it's press them all over the world. But when it's like the sound mixer, it's like me and 4 other people asking questions, right?
Okay.
So
did you get a chance to see the Charlize that they're on?
Oh, no, she wasn't. She never. I know. No, see, what happens is it's not even nominees; it's only people who win. So I didn't even get the other nominees backstage. Damn. So unless they actually win, we don't even get to see them. We just watch the same broadcast.
She has one of the most beautiful faces I've ever seen.
Yes, absolutely.
Good looking
like,
face.
And she's,
I'd feed her a couple of Snickers and some Euro meat, but her face, man.
Speaking of which,
we were just talking about that.
She's one of these.
Guess what I had?
But she's one of these women. She gets more beauty. She's one of these women who maintains. I don't want to be like a sexist thing. It's not her job to maintain a beauty for a bunch of male eyes, but she has this innate quality of beauty that has been sustained. And in some ways, she is more profoundly beautiful in these than she was at the start of her career.
You know who else gets?
That's true for so many people these days.
I've got 2 right now that come to mind when I think about.
Let me guess. Angela Bassett,
number 1, and Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer Aniston,
Jennifer Aniston
is a uniquely beautiful woman in that girl next door, all American, just beautiful.
She looks like
Angela.
She looks like
she's so much prettier now than she was when she was in Office Space.
You smell what I'm cooking. You smell what I'm cooking.
Because
like when she was in Horrible Bosses, oh my God. She was way hotter in that to me.
I totally agree.
It doesn't matter. It's just my personal thing. But I thought she was so beautiful in that movie, and she was beautiful in Office Space. That's one of the first movies I ever saw her in. I was like, who was this?
And I did have by the way, I haven't had a Euros in like 2.5 years because they don't have the Euros places in California.
What?
So, dude, I ate that Euros today. I'm driving back from Mikey's house where I dropped off your shit.
Yeah,
left my goddamn
didn't even
jacket
stop
at
by
his
the
house.
crib. I was here all day too, bastard.
Yeah, he didn't want to drive 10 minutes down.
I figured you were working, but
you can still stop through and say hi to him.
So I'm supposed to assume the black man is home.
You could call.
Right.
I'm just saying, you know that I work from the crib. You know
so. Well,
so stop
all
doing.
Right.
You could have done. You could have got a workout in.
But I at least got my Euros. So I got my workout in.
Where'd you get the Euro from?
Nikki's on 59. In Naperville, and I got the plate, so I just reached in and grabbed the meat,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I poured that cucumber sauce. Oh my God.
Wow.
Were you driving with your elbows? Were you driving with your elbows?
Oh, with the knee. I was driving with the knee. So like being in Chicago this time, I'm be here for like a week and a half. It's going to be nice because I'm usually here with the wife and kids.
Yeah.
So everything's very rigorously scheduled. We're going to Maggiano's. We're going to Portillo's. We're going to this place.
I know about
but now
that.
I get to go to White Castle. I get to go get me some euros. Stuff she doesn't want to have.
Right.
So
go down to,
and I'm gonna still have like Lou Malnati's. Absolutely gonna have Lou Malnati's.
Are you going to Club Aqua?
No.
We're gonna get some this weekend, Dutch. We're gonna go get some fucking barbecue. I got a spot for you. It's a little hole in the wall spot.
Let's go.
It is.
You talking about Tips and Taps?
Nah. I ain't finna put the name out there. I don't need it blowing up now.
What's the business? What's the business though? What's the business? You gonna slide a brother a text or what?
Yeah, no,
we'll slide. All right, so Mark, what would be the something that you've written, knowing that we are fans of like DC, Marvel, that sort of thing. We love Star Wars, Star Trek. Give us a couple of recommendations as someone who's listening to this show, because we have a lot of people listening to this show who are also comic book fans and superhero fans and stuff like that, who are also, interested in politics. But what would be a couple of things that you've written that you think would be up that alley that you'd like to pitch?
Well, thanks. They could, book-wise, story-wise, they can look for my Danger Boy books, which are available as ebooks. The print edition will occur between print editions. But my Danger Boy time travel series from kind of the early to mid 2000s. There we go. A boy and a girl, and she's like the brains of the bunch. She's the daughter of the last librarian of Alexandria. The first book is set in the library at Alexandria. He's from the year when I wrote it in the early 2000s. He was from the near future of like circa of 2020. And in my 2020, I had a pandemic, out of control climate change, and a totalitarian government.
No.
And I wish I had been wrong.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we got a prophet on the show.
I would like to have been wrong about at least one. Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess blame me, right? But
can you write a book about 2021 that's good?
Right. Your new name is now Marco Damas.
That's right. So I was always, it's that cynicism, but so the Danger Boy books, and you can get the free one. Actually, we love the free one. The first one is a free download at Amazon or wherever, but Amazon's the easiest. But other places, you can get the first book, Ancient Fire, and we love. And if people just want to get that one and review it, that always helps the cause. Any kind of reader review, and then the other ones are, the rest of the series. And we may have another one in 2021 coming out. And then, so those are available right now. And
What's
then
the name of the book again?
Danger Boy.
Danger Boy,
and you can just look those up.
We'll put the links to this stuff in the show notes.
Okay. And then my most recent one, which is now in audio, but that's also because it was a small publisher, and I was kind of their experiment with sort of middle grade horror. So there's an audio book of Max Random and the Zombie 500, which is what it's called. It's my horror book.
That is the coolest goddamn name.
That was pretty
Thank you, man.
And the Zombie 500.
And the Zombie 500.
Max Random?
Max Random. He's this autistic kid who builds a go-kart to escape LA during a zombie apocalypse. And his story is narrated. What I'll do is, so I'll just send, because I have a bunch of, I'll send you guys copies of that. Again, I will just send you guys, give me, you'll hit me up on the group chat after, and I can mail out some copies of that one.
Did you write Emancipating Elias?
No, are you looking me up on Amazon?
I'm looking you up. I'm trying to find you. Yeah,
you got to look at Mark London, Mike, because there's a bunch of Mark Williams. London Williams.
Oh,
yeah, I know. There's a ton of Mark Williamses. It's like
you're Stephen Bachman up in this piece.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So Mark London Williams. That's why I use my three when I'm a journalist, or I use all three names as a byline. Because one time in LA, when I just moved down, and I was doing music journalism then, and I was interviewing another Mark Williams.
Oh, really?
This is at the defunct A&M Records label.
Hey,
and
Mikey.
I thought, if I'm actually, so that's when I decided to use all three names.
There you go. You got to use your serial killer name.
That's right. Yeah.
Mike,
assassinate the president.
If you got Audible, you can find Max Random and the Zombie 500 on Audible as well. Yeah,
free
dude.
books for Audible.
I think we just lost Mark.
We did.
But it's okay because we were
Mark
he was
London
about to
Williams
sign
is
off
downloading.
anyway,
Yeah.
and we got him to pitch his stuff.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, we were gonna start on a new stream, but you know what? Let's just push on. We'll start doing that next time.
Okay.
Let's talk about, I don't even want to talk about these town halls. Do you guys?
Nope.
There are ways.
Yeah.
Can we talk about let's talk about the gruesomeness of Dak Prescott's injury and its ramifications? Can we do that?
Go.
And can we talk about the boys?
Yeah, we'll do the boys, but let's go ahead and get your Dak Prescott off your chest.
All right. I only want to say this. This is all I want to say.
If he was a white quarterback, would you care?
Yes, because I don't want to see anybody get injured like this.
This looked, by the way, just like the Alex Smith injury, and he just came back, so hopefully it's not as bad.
Hopefully he doesn't get a staph infection and sepsis and fasciitis.
Necrophilia.
No, he got necrophysitis, and they had to peel like all these layers of skin and muscle off his leg. Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, Alex Smith almost died.
Yes, he did. I'm
buying both of his books, by the way.
Here's the thing with Dak Prescott. I knew it was going to happen as soon as the dude grabbed his shoulder pad and sleeve and started trying to drag him down sideways. I knew that was going to happen. I said something's about to break. And they talk about the horse collar tackle where you grab from behind, but they have to do something about basically the side horse collar where they get into the side of these people that are trying to run away from you. And then they just drop their weight. They just drop their weight. And if you're like Dak Prescott was with his right leg in the ground, his left leg in the air, you've got 200-pound defensive back dropping his weight on you, and then his lower body making contact with your lower body, and Dak Prescott is 6'4", 6'5", 240, 250 pounds. So he's got all of the weight of his body on one leg planted. And now you've got 200 extra pounds slamming into the lower part of your leg below your knee. That lower leg is going to snap. And that ankle is probably going to dislocate because the foot is planted in the ground. And as soon as that weight hits, it drags. So the foot is going to get dislocated and the lower leg is going to break. They've got to do something about that. They've got to do something about
it looked like Gordon Hayward's injury.
Gordon Hayward or well, no, not really Paul George, because Paul George slammed into the stanchion.
Oh yeah,
the kid from Louisville, remember
his shin was out though. That was nasty.
That was that. So we got Mark back.
I see you, Mark.
Mark made it back. So Mark, before we it's all right. So give since we got you back real quick, go ahead and give your because we're about to I thought it was I thought you actually did it on purpose, but the go ahead and give out your
that would have been a hell of an exit, but no.
Let everyone know where they can find you at.
So Twitter and Instagram, well actually Instagram, Trickster Inc., which is one of my publishing imprints, Trickster, Trick, like tricks. Trickster, which is another name for like coyotes and ravens and trickster figures. Trickster Inc., INK, which is a small publishing company I have. So Trickster Inc. Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Played by Mark Hamill.
I'll put it in the chat. So, yeah, we'd love to get Hamill, man. So Trickster Inc. That's Instagram, and it's one of my two Twitter handles, and then the other is a contraction of my name, Mark London Williams. So M London WMZ, also on Twitter, and then Mark London Williams on Facebook. So various iterations.
So you have the two Twitter handles and a third one that is entrenched in QAnon, I take it.
That's right. Yeah, man. Don't get me started on pizza parlors.
All right. So Danger Boys, we'll definitely put the link for that in the show, as well as
I'm ordering both of them.
What was it? Mark Random? Was that what Mark Random?
Max Random.
Max Random. Yes. So we'll put the links to that stuff in the notes. Mark, we appreciate you coming on, brother. It was fun to talk to you.
It was great, man. It was a blast. Yeah.
You'll have a Voice from the Underground mask sent your way. So give us your
fantastic.
Give us your address, and we promise not to lace it with COVID or anthrax
or ricin. We won't give you ricin either.
No, we won't. So with that being said, man, thank you for coming on, Mark. We really appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, guys. It was really a gas. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
You're the man,
Mike. All right,
brother. Appreciate it.
All right, yeah. All right, gents. See you next time. Take care.
Bye-bye, Mark.
Later.
Bye-bye.
All righty. So
let's talk about him.
Yeah, we were talking about let's talk about that fucker. No, so with Dak Prescott's injury again, pretty gruesome. Obviously, thoughts and prayers to Dak. The sad thing is that he was having such a great year.
Yep.
And now the Cowboys weren't going anywhere this year. That team fucking has no defense whatsoever.
Nope.
And they barely beat. They've been barely beating teams that they should be crushing.
They barely beat the Giants.
It's astonishing, like how bad the Cowboys and Eagles are with all the talent on both of those teams. But nonetheless, it's
attitudes reflect leadership, dude.
That's true. But what do you think? Before we move on to the boys, do you think Andy Dalton can get them back into the mix? Because he's not a shithead.
Andy Dalton, to me, is like the redheaded Nick Foles. He'll be good for a few games, and then you get tape on him, and you say, oh, yeah, this is what he can do, and this is what he can't do. And then you shut him down. But the thing is that the problem is not necessarily Andy Dalton and the offense, it's the defense. So if you got a defense that's going to consistently give up 24 to 40 points a game, you've got to say, okay, we got to score 30 every game. Can Andy Dalton get you 30 points every game? I doubt it. Will they? I guarantee you that defenses now will stack the box to control Ezekiel Elliott and put it on Andy Dalton. And I think that without a good running game, any quarterback is less effective. So a quarterback that is a third-tier quarterback at best, I would say right now, you put the game in his hands, and you've got defenses forcing him to be more than he might be capable of game in and game out. They're not going to do much, because unless that defense dramatically turns around. If that defense turns around and they start doing the things that they can do, then we might see something. But that defensive secondary especially is putrid right now.
Yeah, they're not.
They need to go get Earl Thomas and say, okay, we'll deal with his shit for a year or two, and hopefully he'll straighten up. Put him on performance incentives. You get in a fight, guess what? Half your salary's gone. Get another fight, guess what? You do something else cancerous, guess what? You're out of here.
Well, the Cowboys are certainly a team that would do that. Them and the Rams and the Lions, I think, are the teams that love to sign those guys. All right, so moving forward,
yes.
Boys, let's do it this way. We'll go around the horn. We'll start with Big Hussein. What were your thoughts on as the dog barks in the background? Yeah,
he is losing his mind. I don't know why.
Well, it's okay, because I think he just wanted to tell us what he thought of the boys.
Yeah.
He did watch every episode. He's caught up.
Yeah. So we'll start on the boys with Big Hussein here. What were your thoughts on? Just give us we'll use the 5-star Hazometer. 1 through 5 stars, and just your overall recap of what you thought of that series.
All right, I'm gonna give it the stars, and then I just want to talk about a moment that might be surprising to you all. How about that?
Do the moment first. Do the moment
okay.
first.
The moment that might be surprising to you all is this. I felt bad for Homelander at the end. I felt bad for him.
You're crazy.
I felt bad for him because you could tell he really wanted to be with his son. And as a person who's gone through a divorce and has not my ex-wife has never tried to take the kids from me and keep and things like that, but she definitely did things sometimes to make it a little harder at times.
How did he?
You know
How did he consummate and create that child?
I know
So
that,
you don't get
and
to
that is
feel
what I'm
bad for
saying. That
him,
is what I'm
Haas.
saying.
He's
That
a
is what I'm saying.
monster, bruh.
That is what I'm saying. But
Mm.
his face at the end, oh my God, I was like for about 2 seconds,
Oh, and by the way, spoilers.
Oh,
I felt
big
bad.
spoilers.
I felt bad
Yeah.
for home because he's like, come on, come here, son, come on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh damn, his face. He really those 2 seconds where I was like, damn, that's kind of, oh, I feel bad. Why am I feeling bad? Because I know how he consummated this child. I know how this child was brought into the world.
Mhm.
And I know what he wanted to make this child.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But at that moment, I almost felt like all of that stuff had gone to the background for him, and he really wanted to have his son with him.
No,
It's almost like he started losing, like his psychopathy.
Yeah,
started to dissolve it a little bit.
Just a little bit. He humanized in my eyes just a little bit, just enough for me to be like, for a fleeting moment, I was like, damn, look at his face.
Okay, so what was your rating?
I give it a 4.7. There were some moments in there where I was like, come on.
So a high rating. Mikey, rating.
I want to say 5, but that's kind of sacrilegious. I loved it. A highest without being a 5, 4.9. Highest without giving it a 5.
All right, I'm going to go with, on this scale, of 4.1.
Whoa!
So
Elaborate.
So nothing really negative. I mean, that's if I on a 10-point scale, it's an 8. 8.2. So I think that the only real issue that I had with the show was that it didn't, without season 1, it didn't really, number 1, it didn't really stand on its own as much as I would like. But number 2 is it's sort of the same old story.
Are you talking about season 2
as it was with season 2? No, I'm talking about season 2.
Okay.
So yeah, I still think that's a pretty fair score. I do think that there were some pretty interesting moments within the series. I could have lived without the whole Fresca thing. I could have lived without the whole.
That was great though.
Yeah, I could have lived without the talking gills.
That was hilarious.
See, yeah.
And that was Patton
It was
Oswalt.
funny, but it was like it was frivolous though.
That was Patton Oswalt doing the voice of the gills.
So I want to ask you guys a couple of questions about this.
Sure.
So all right, political angles on this to start.
Oh, life imitates art. Art imitates life.
When Stormfront
bitch
is talking, well, let's start chronologically.
Yes.
In the beginning, Stormfront, you almost would think she's a progressive. Just the way that she's fighting establishments and corporations. She had the hair, with the shave, everything like that. Mikey, were you at all fooled?
No, I never liked her. I was like, yo, what's up with this bitch?
Something's off.
She's fucking unnecessarily nasty. There's something else. Like there's got to be another layer underneath that.
When she killed like old girl's brother, I knew. I was like, yeah, this bitch is crazy. But she had that
brother.
She had that Mysterio vibe about her.
Well, I knew
Mysterio was bad.
The thing I found that was fun, by the way, Jamie Foxx will be Electro again. You saw that. But the funny thing was like she took this sort of like, you kind of figured something was up, but she took this progressive angle. And then she went into the very first chase when they're chasing the female's brother.
Yeah.
And they go into the apartment complex with the black family, and she just wipes them out.
Yeah, for nothing.
And you're like, yeah. And then, and you didn't quite. At least I didn't quite get that at the moment.
Oh, I did.
I was like, whoa. Yeah, I was like, whoa. She just took out a black family, so maybe she's not as progressive as you think. But so then, so when they showed the Nazi ties on that, what were just. Did you think it was done to, so
I was like, I told you she was racist.
I just thought I thought it was a little bit forced, but outside of that's just the way that they did it. But when you saw that angle, what'd you guys think of it?
Well, I mean, even if there was a woman who was American who was 100-something years old, probably still racist. Because if you find the average white woman from 100 years ago, ask her what her thoughts are on Mexicans, Chinese, and blacks, it's not going to be something that we want to air on. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be some nasty, vile, vitriolic shit. Yeah. And she is a product of that. And I think so. I never saw her as like this progressive, like feminist kind of character. She never really came off that way. She was just kind of dickish. You know what I mean? She wasn't really for the rights of anybody. She was just like, I don't want to fucking do this interview, so I'm gonna fuck it up. Like she was like that fuck your feelings type of conservative. Yeah. Yeah, she's always, and that's the vibe I got from her. I never got a vibe that she was like progressive or kind of like, you know, compassionate or empathetic. I thought she came off as cocky to me and as callous. And so I wasn't, when she killed the black family, I was like, you know. And then when they went and they found that black woman whose brother I think got killed by her when she was Liberty, right? I was like, oh yeah, this bitch is a fucking racist, you know. And they kept alluding to it, but like, oh, you know what her problem is with A-Train, you know? Right. Think about it, and I shouldn't have to say what her problem is with A-Train. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was a little bit later on, though. So I just gave a lot of my opinions on this on Jock and Nerd. So I'm going to mostly kind of just like interview you guys for your thoughts and ask you about a couple of segments here. So keeping with Stormfront for a second. Yes. When she brought up white genocide. Yes. And was trying to. Oh my God. Yeah. To like talk to the sun. Yeah. Like,
they're trying to kill all of us just because of the way that we look.
And guess, and you know something? That was the start of the humanization for Homelander. Because did you see how he looked at her?
Yes, that was where I was going exactly.
He looked at her like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
He's like, even I ain't that goddamn crazy.
Right? He's like, this bitch. He looked at her like, this fucking bitch is crazy.
I'm stupid.
I've been fucking a crazy bitch. That's why it was so good, because I've been fucking a crazy.
That's how it be though. That's how it be though.
But then he thought about it. He was like, holy shit, that shit could work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fuck Homelander. I'm glad Butcher stole his son. Ha ha. You took his wife. He took your kid from his wife. Joke's on you. And now he's going to have like the super Butcher kid. That kid's going to be awesome. I can't wait for season. Can't wait.
Okay. Next topic.
Yes.
Keep America first, or keep America safe. Go.
Oh, I wonder what that sounds like.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of that same, like, speaking in front of crowds thing, when they started booing Homelander and shit like that, tell me why somebody who is part of this podcast, who will remain Big Haas nameless, literally called me as soon as he saw the laser go through the group of protesters.
Yes.
He goes like, yo, he just killed all the protesters. I was like, oh, you caught up? He's like, no, I'm watching it right now. I was like, oh, so you're not done with the episode? He's like, no. Does that mean that there? I was like, bye-bye. And I just hung up on him.
Hey, if you were sitting in the sunroom with me, hold on. People got to see my face. Hold on.
Oh my God.
This is great for the audio podcast.
If you were sitting in my sunroom next to me when that happened, you would have seen this.
Yeah, same thing. I was like, ooh, like somebody just broke my
heart. And here's the thing, is that Homelander is so needy and starving to be loved and to be adored and starved for adulation. It did not occur to me in that moment that was just like a dream or daydream sequence, because he is so starved for adulation, and when he is rejected, that is his reaction so many times. His cruelty comes out when he is rejected like that. So I 100% believe that shit was.
They got me.
Fucking legitimate. They got me. I was like, holy shit. I looked at my son. I said, holy shit. Rocco was like, what? I'm like, dude, did you just see that shit? I got to call Mikey.
He called me immediately, and I was like, oh, so you finished it? Like, no. I was like,
no.
Oh, you didn't call me?
He said, keep watching and click. I'm like, he gonna do some more shit? That's what I said. He's gonna do some more shit.
Okay, so thanks for calling me.
Fuck you, Dutch.
So when you
Oh, the
see
black
when
guy.
you see the keep America safe, the one line I want to talk there, they were talking a lot about. Well, the panel group said, "Keep the world safe sounds better," and he said, "Nope,
Nope."
So elaborate on that for us, Mikey. Who does that remind you of?
I mean, someone with hands about half the size of these probably said something similar. Lives in the White House currently. That
very bigly.
A very blatant homage to Trump. I'm surprised Trump's people haven't found out about this and tried to cancel it yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of Trumpian nods in this season. It's a lot of art imitating life and parallels that you could draw. You know, like the manipulation of social media and putting out disinformation and things like that.
Yeah.
The speeches where they're saying they're pouring over our borders. These super villains are pouring over our borders, and any one of them could be, you know, and the dog whistle calls to violence that led that one dude to kill the clerk.
And then look, and like even when like Homelander and Black Noir, when they went overseas to kill other soups, they went to somewhere in the Middle East and they went to Africa.
Yep.
They didn't go to Czechoslovakia. They didn't go to, you know what I'm saying? They didn't go to.
And remember what they said: better them than us.
Yes.
That was the meme.
Homeboy had dope ass powers too. The dude over in Africa.
Yeah. The dude over in Africa.
It was a little tongue in cheek that the Southeast Asian guy blew himself up and then didn't die, and he had like the whatever tattoos like across his chest or whatever.
Yes.
Okay, so just superhero wise, what did you think of the female's brother? And also, what were your thoughts of the bootleg version of Daredevil? Remember, he boxed his ears.
Oh yeah, that was wretched.
I
knew something was gonna happen to him though. As soon as
he came out
way too cool. He was like doing this and doing that and throwing this. I was like, oh, this guy's got some. Oh, he's gonna kill him. Oh,
yeah,
he is not gonna like that.
No.
Don't you bring me a fucking cripple or whatever he said. I was like,
well, the thing was though, I think, and you guys can elaborate on, is I think it wasn't even about him. It was about the fact that the girl went over his head.
She didn't consult him. Yeah.
He didn't ask for this. Why
he didn't. Nobody told me about it. Wasn't mine.
Right. It wasn't mine. I didn't bring it in. I didn't do it. So guess what? Yeah. You know, and that was just, I mean,
poor dude.
The poor guy. And what was the other thing you talked about? You talked about the deaf guy and the blind guy. And what else?
Well, he's clearly
the brother.
Yeah,
the brother.
Oh, and also Hawk, Green Arrow or Hawk, the Black Hawkeye, the guy who was.
The one that
Eagle Eye.
They just left him dangling. They left him. They just left him dangling, and that you know.
So when they bring in these
typical, it's so typical.
When they bring in these heroes who are, or these soups, I should say, who are like clear allegories for like Daredevil, Hawkeye, or / Green Arrow, you know, etc. Like, they changed the sex of Stormfront. She was in the comics. She's a guy. She's Shazam, basically. Yeah, that's who she is. She's the Shazam character in this. So it's like, and then they do have a spin-off series coming up called G-Men, which is their version of the X-Men. So like when you guys see these offshoots, these representations of known superheroes, like, do you guys find that like exciting, or like, is it cool to you, or is it just more like, oh, they stole another character?
It's fine with me. I mean, there's only so many superheroes you can make.
Yeah.
So if they want to like do an homage to somebody else, like clearly, Maeve is Wonder Woman.
Right.
Clearly, Homelander is Superman, but it didn't really get in the way of the story. They weren't like trying to say, I'm Looper Man. Like, you know, right. Stupid about it. Like, they're just like, he's Homelander.
Who was Blank Man?
Damon Wayans.
No, in the boys.
Black Noir.
The dude they left dangling out there. That's who.
No, you don't.
No, Black Noir is clearly Batman.
It was Deep.
The deep,
No,
yeah.
Deep. Obviously, Aquaman. Maeve, obviously, Wonder Woman. In the
Right.
comic, they have a guy.
That's so dysfunctional. It takes it makes it its own lane. It's like a whole parallel universe thing that you can get into separate from the nods that they're given to these other superheroes because they're so dystopian, they're so dysfunctional. They've all got so many problems and so many issues.
Like when they tried to like capitalize on Maeve having a girlfriend.
Yes.
Oh my god! And it's like, okay, so we're gonna put.
That's what the media does, though.
Yeah, and as soon as
and she was like, pantsuit. Like, what
pantsuit? What the fuck? But the thing was like, as soon as her girlfriend left, what does she do? She goes and gets in a MMF with two dudes. You know what I mean?
She was getting down, and then she rolled out of bed, hit the bong like crazy. I was like, oh, okay, Maeve. Maeve here to party.
Straight from the comic, by the way.
So it's like you're so wrapped up in their individual inadequacies that you don't even think, oh, that's fucking Wonder Woman. This is fucking crazy because they're not making her exactly like Wonder Woman. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's so far like, okay, the suit and her powers are kind of like Wonder Woman. And you see the reference there, but the character is so outside of what Wonder Woman would be. You know what I mean?
And that's one thing that I can.
That's what makes it so enjoyable, and that's what makes it its own thing.
And the character development on The Boys is probably one of the best I've seen for a show, not just a superhero show, but like to give me a character, like present me with the exposition, and then make me know things about this character, like put me like I can think. I know what Deep is gonna think about this situation. I know what Homelander thinks about this situation. Like I know how they think now because they flesh the characters out so well. And I think that's why like the parallels between like the Batman and the Superman and the Wonder Woman, it doesn't even get in the way because it's like
fades to the background. It fades to the background.
Like I don't even see Homelander as Superman.
No,
that's Homelander.
Because he's so outside of Superman.
They're closer to the what is it? The Squadron Supreme from Marvel, which is
what is that?
If you guys don't,
I never heard of
Squadron Supreme is the Justice League written by Marvel as bad guys. So literally, if you look them up on your phone, they are the Flash, Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, and a Green Lantern, but written as bad guys, and they're always defeated by the Avengers. They're total ripoffs of DC. But the
Hyperion,
Hyperion,
Spectrum, Power Princess, and the Wizard.
Yeah,
the Wizard instead of the Flash.
Right. Yeah. So
the Wizard's a fucking ride at Great America, dude. Come on.
And I'm trying to keep the voice a little bit lower because it's late here. Okay. But the so next question, the obvious Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
The twist at the end with her was great.
Mikey, go ahead. That's your hero, by the way.
Can't say her name without things happen to me chemically. I love her.
She is beautiful. Have you seen the picture? I'm just gonna say that. Have you seen the picture?
I'm about to.
I don't know what you're talking about, but
there's a picture of AOC. And she's talking, I think she's at Congress, but her shirt is kind of see-through.
Say no more. Say no more.
Okay.
Say no more.
Sweet, as my man Herbert would say from Family Guy, sweet Jesus.
That's my boo. And when they were in,
so what did you think when they turned Victoria Newman? Like, did you know they were going to do that? Because obviously, what they're saying here, I think,
had a feeling. I was
wondering why at the hearing everyone around her's head was blowing up. I'm like, go for her. She's the target.
And here's the thing.
Go for her.
Here's the thing. Whenever she was running, people's heads weren't blowing up. Yeah. People's heads weren't blowing up.
She would turn and look, and
when she was able to look at someone or look out, heads would blow up. And I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, I'm reading too much, and I'm being Negro Damas Hassan, trying to read forward into the show. And then at the end, I was like, damn it, I knew I was fucking right.
So the obvious message I think there is both sides are bad.
Two wings of the same bird, as they say, right? But I'm still gonna vote.
So did it Yeah, so it didn't break. They got her down to the lipstick. So like she was the perfect. She's got there's a really good doppelganger for her, or like a parody of her in Space Force, by the way, too. If you guys have watched Space Force. Last but not least, where do you see this going for season 3? What do you want to see for? I'm sorry, one more thing. The scene which I think was the best of the series was when they kicked Stormfront's ass, the 3 girls. Like they accomplished everything there.
That was a female empowerment.
Totally accomplished everything that Infinity War tried to do with that one scene where all the women, but it was so forced.
Yes.
So your thoughts on this scene compared to the one in Infinity War?
Amazing.
I love
it. Was fucking amazing.
Or in Endgame, I should say.
And then, and then Frenchie just sits back. He's like, "Yes, girls can get it done."
When I saw Kamiko unbreak her neck.
Oh yeah.
First of all, I didn't know she could do that. And then second of all, I was like, she is about to whoop this girl ass. And then when they did and it was also an homage to the Kung Fu movies where the protagonists have to come together and fight the supervillain or the villain in order to defeat them. You know?
So what did you think of that scene, Mikey, compared to the one in Endgame? Which did it do the girl power thing better for you?
Absolutely. This was not like some magic beams, but no, they were fighting.
They were fighting.
Jumping her. They
were in the street.
They were
in the street.
She was down.
Yeah, they were in the street on 67th and Western.
They tried so hard to do this in Endgame, not once, but twice.
Yes,
because they did it. If you recall, with when Scarlett Johansson walked up in Infinity War, and she was like, "But she's not alone." You know, when the girl who was with Thanos was like, "Now you're out here and you'll die alone," but she's not alone.
But she's not alone.
And they tried to do it a couple times, but this one was just so much.
It was so organic. It was so organic, and I just thought that where they made it hand-to-hand combat, pretty much. You know what I mean? It was a lot less powers. It was all about we humbugging. They was humbugging, throwing haymakers. You know,
it was getting busy.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
And last but not, go ahead.
And one thing I want to point out was Stormfront got her ass jumped by the 3 girls, but she still was able to fly away.
Yep.
Baby Homelander, his eye lasers took her legs off, and Homelander was using his high laser, and it was just like giving her a bruise. So I think Baby Homelander is way stronger because he's he's the firstborn soup. You know what I mean? Like he was born with supernatural powers.
And he pretty much he dismembered her arms too. Her arms were blown off.
Looked like Anakin Skywalker.
Yes,
she did.
That's what I was going to say.
Another homage there too.
Yep. Yeah. And so where do you see that going in season 3? And that's where we'll wrap up.
I think Baby Homelander and Butcher are about to clean up.
I think there's going to be a lot more. There's going to be a few episodes where Baby Homelander is doing some training to gain control of his emotions and his powers and come to grips, because he's got a little bit of agoraphobia too. So he's got to come to grips with his lack of experience and lack of exposure to being out in public as well. So I think there's going to be some issues with that. And I think
he killed his mom.
Well, that too. But I think that also there may be a scene or an episode dealing with him kind of freaking out in public and I-beaming some people maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think there's going to be some more character development. If they're true to what they do, there's going to be some more character development with that. There's going to be Vought trying to get him back, you know, and then like the last 3 or 4 episodes, he's coming into his own and really helping out the boys to dismantle Vought.
All right, Mikey, take us home. Your thoughts and write us out.
Thank you to Gustavo Fring for making another appearance in another one of my favorite shows. I love, what is his name? Giancarlo
Esposito.
Esposito, my man.
I loved him. I've loved him forever.
Ever since Breaking Bad, he is Gustavo.
Oh, you got to go back to Fresh.
All right, I'll take it back. I'll run it back.
You got to go back to Fresh. I loved him in Fresh.
I absolutely adore.
I
him
love
in
Giancarlo Esposito.
He's always so. Adjust my glasses, fix my shit.
Yes.
And he always speaks in the most professional way possible.
Yes. But here's the thing.
And he
even
never takes no shit. Never.
Nope. And even in Fresh, even in the movie Fresh, he was the refined heroin dealer. You know, he was, you know, when I get her like that and she takes a hit, oh, she is my Madonna. She is my goddess. You know what I mean? He is always, no matter what role he plays, he is regal. He has this air of regality about him and this air of
he's dripping in gravitas.
Just he takes over a scene with that aura that he has. Every scene he's in, you're just like, God, this dude is good.
But Homelander,
he's one of the most underrated actors out there.
I think Homelander is going to kill him though. That's my prediction for season 3. Homelander is going to kill him.
Homelander's going to kill him because he facilitated them finding the kid.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So he's going to die. He's going to die. Homelander's going to go on a nice little rampage. It might even end up Homelander versus his son towards the end there.
Well, I'll tell you what I think they're going to do.
Okay.
I think they're going to team up the boys and the 7 against some common foe at some point in time during the series.
It'll be the 6 because it'll be, I think A-Train will defect back, come over and be with Maeve. So it'll be almost like a new 7 because it'll be
girl?
Huey.
What's
Starlight. It'll be Starlight. It'll be Butcher. Laz Alonso will come back. I forget his character's name. It'll be Kamiko. It'll be Frenchie. Did I say Maeve?
Yeah.
Maeve. I already said Maeve, and so then A-Train will make out the new 7 of the boys. So it'll be some soups in with it'll be 3 soups in with the boys.
So who's missing? The Deep, Black Noir, Homelander.
Yeah. Black Noir's gone. He had an allergic reaction.
Oh,
remember?
Yeah.
But they said there was no brain damage, so they said he's fine.
Oh, they did? I missed that part. I thought he was gone.
In the comics, he falls out of an airplane and lives.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
That dude is Master Chief.
But also in the comics, the boys have superpowers that they take right before a fight. They inject themselves.
Oh, with Compound V?
Yeah. So, which gives them massive strength. So we'll have to see if they bring that in or not. But
they may have to for them because those other soups are still out there. Those other soups that they were kind of growing at that mental health facility.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that girl. I called her number 12. She's still alive. I think her name's like Christy or something like that.
Oh, the bald chick?
Yeah.
I loved her. I loved her.
And she remember that she tried to hitchhike and the car didn't stop, and then all of a sudden it stopped because she just probably killed the driver.
He's like, oh, you don't want to stop for me?
One last thing before I wrap up. When Annie killed that guy and then saw the car seat.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that?
I think that was her moment to feel like Butcher kind of looked at her like, see, shit gets messy over here. I tried to
It gets messy. It's not cut and dry.
And you didn't want to listen to me. And now you've done it too.
And not everything is black and white. And you're gonna do some things and you're gonna have some regret. And it's about sometimes the greater good is sometimes about your just reacting in the moment. And you got to learn how to not beat yourself up about certain things sometimes.
But here's my thing.
You know?
Why couldn't she just stand in front of Huey and take the bullet?
Yeah, maybe. Or why couldn't she use a burst of light to just explode the bullet? To explode the bullet right there in front of him. Create a little force field. I don't think she
hand or something.
Yeah, I don't think she has a full grasp of her powers yet either. So there might be some development coming there as well.
But I did think it was cool because I think her whole power is like she can suck the electricity out of lights, out of like any incandescent light that's around her, and then redirect that where she wants to.
Right.
Like when they broke her out of that out of the tower, and then like the fire alarm came on, but then that light came on in her cell.
Yes.
She was like, perfect, and she used the electricity out of that light to blast her way out. She could have used the guy's headlights to push him back. She could have did anything. She didn't have to or stood in front, or I don't know. That was one
Oh,
thing
and
that
you
I
know what?
watched that she could have avoided, but I think they
Yeah.
needed that to happen for the story.
And I got one more. I got to lie. Real quick, your thoughts on Lamplighter?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh, who was his father? Because he said I wanted to do this in front of my father.
No, he wanted to do it in front of the statue of his own statue.
I thought he said something about he wanted
his
his dad. He wanted somebody to be proud of him. He
Yeah,
said that.
He said something about his. It was some.
No, I missed that.
He said something about his dad.
Right
I
before
wanted
he
my
set himself
dad
on fire
Yes, he did.
in front of the thing about his dad.
But that was that.
But he kind of like he didn't obviously the killing those two kids affected him.
Yes, because he said he didn't know. He said he didn't know.
She was that lady was supposed to be there, not those kids.
Yeah.
Right.
I felt like with Lamplighter, he's obviously going through some stuff, and when you hit that fork in the road and you have that traumatic experience, sometimes you go one way or the other.
Yeah.
And he went the one way, and you could tell in the asylum or whatever when he decided to help them that he realized he had gone down a wrong path. You know what I'm saying? So, and that was just his way of trying to atone, I guess.
Right. All right. Well, I thought that his was an interesting storyline because it was like you sort of saw that he was a complete psychopath, but at the same time had a tiny, like it's all these guys they're complete psychos, but they have that tiny sliver of humanity left inside of them.
Yep.
So with that being said, I guess we will wrap up today's show.
All right. Want me to take you out or no?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I am going to end tonight, well, this early morning on a because during COVID, people are trying to find ways to stay fit and to work out, and they're trying to find ways to at least maintain. And I just want to say this: when looking for proper benchmarks of your progress in your fitness journey, do not use BMI. Okay? BMI sucks because BMI is just a tool for doctors to get you in and get you out and give you the most watered down measure of your fitness that is actually not rooted in proper benchmarking. BMI, as you know, uses age, weight, and height. And then they come up with this number and say, oh, for your age, weight, and height, you should be at this weight. And if you're not, then they give you this BMI score. But it does not take into a context your muscle mass, because lean muscle is good no matter which way you cut it. It doesn't take into account your body fat percentage, and it doesn't take into account your body water percentage. Okay, so real quickly, I try to use a 3-tiered method to benchmark your progress. I like to do tape measurements because you're going to lose inches. You might lose inches in your thighs, but not in your waist in the first 4 to 5 weeks or whatever. You might lose in your waist, but not your neck or your arms and things like that. But you can benchmark there because it's also like how your clothes fit. Okay. I do a weight, but it's with bioelectric impedance. So the scale actually shoots a little impulse of electricity up through your body, and the rate in which they return determines if it's fat, water, bone, or muscle. Okay. And when I put you on the scale, or when you get on the scale, if you don't have a scale that measures your body fat percentage, your body water percentage, and your pounds of fat, invest the $20 to $30 and get a scale that measures your body fat percentage, your body water percentage, and your pounds of fat, because those are better indicators of how you're progressing than your weight, because you can lose weight but still have excess body fat. Okay. So, and also understand this: if body water goes up, the body water percentage goes up, you'll see your body fat percentage go down. So if you want to be in the mid 50s for body fat percentage. So there's tape measurements, there's scale measurements that measure your body fat, body water, and pounds of fat. And you can also track how many pounds of fat you're losing on a periodic basis. But then also, it is very important to do a baseline fitness assessment. And what I do is push-ups, sit-ups, squats, squat thrusts, and jumping jacks. Okay? You go for a minute, you try to go back to back to back, and you take your heart rate after exercise. You should take your resting heart rate before and try and compare those numbers. Because as you get more fit, your heart rate, your resting heart rate should go down, and your heart rate after exercise. And also the numbers for those exercises that I listed should go up. So if you do those three things and do that 3-tiered method, then at the end of the month, when you do your check-in, if the scale doesn't necessarily say what you want it to say, the tape measure might show something different, or the fitness assessment might say something different. So the tape measure might not have changed, but you just did 12 more push-ups than you did the month before. So you're showing that you're going in the right direction. You're not getting discouraged because you're looking at weight and the scale's not moving, because you're seeing that you're making these improvements. And if you keep at it, you're going to see that you're going to reach your goals. So don't put all your eggs on one basket when benchmarking your fitness. Don't just look at weight. Definitely don't use BMI. You want to check your pounds of fat. You want to check your body fat percentage. You want to see that going down. You want to see your body water percentage going up into the mid 50s. And then check how your clothes fit, or do tape measurements and do a periodic fitness assessment with calisthenics and see how those numbers improve along with your heart rate going down. Okay.
I believe you've met my fitness consigliere.
That's right. And
no soundboard. Hey, but real quick before you go off,
yes.
Your show with Delvin posted today. So quick, I thought you were going to talk about your last word. I could have swore you were going to talk about the Saturday Night Live.
The Bill Burr.
Yeah, but
I loved it.
I thought it was great too. But but your show with Delvin posted. So
okay.
Tell us about that, and then we'll be good to go.
Okay. All right. So I did the Delvin Cox Experience. And surprisingly, I thought
is that a ride at Disneyland?
Pause. But I thought that we were just going to talk about topics and things like that. It actually turned out to be in an interview format where he just asked me a bunch of questions. He asked me, I think, 5 or 6 questions, and I just kind of gave him answers. And we, I want you to watch the episode, but it was very cool to be able to. I was honored that someone thought I was interesting enough to just ask me questions and sit and listen to my response. I thought that was crazy. But I was honored to be on the show, and I hope you all tune in and check it out, because without giving away too much, we talked about some pretty cool things. We went across a range of subjects that there should be something there for everybody. So please, please, please tune into that episode. You can leave a response or a review and tell me how much I suck and what I can do better, and I'll definitely take it under consideration.
Positive reviews here, negative reviews on the Delvin Cox Experience. So,
don't do that to Delvin. I like him.
All right, Mikey, you got the floor.
Let me go back to all of us. Well, everybody, it has been another successful episode in the can. Thank you so much for joining Voice from the Underground, the podcast, and from all of us here, see you later.
Peace.
2 fingers.
4 fingers.